What's up, everybody, and welcome to the House of Mario, the South Australian Nintendo podcast that is backed by 120 power star rating. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and the doors to episode 171 are open. This week on the show, we're talking about Reggie at the Game Awards. PAX is apparently happening in 2021, and a Nintendo hacker gets prosecuted. And this is a solo episode. My co-host Bryce is currently at work, and for the rest of the week, he's on looking after his kids' duty, and he's got a few things to do, so he won't be able to fit it in this week. So here I am by myself, talking into a microphone, and hopefully having some of you guys listen to me. Whether you're on a jog, you're at work, you're sitting in the car with your family, and they're all like, "What are you listening to, mate?" And you're like, "You know what? I really should put my headphones on for this. This is a bit embarrassing." But regardless, I'm happy you're here, and I'm looking forward to getting into it. It's December. It's the lead up to Christmas. It's very quiet as far as news and that goes. And it's also very busy on my behalf, and I'm sure it's on your behalf as well. There's a lot going on, but I'm just sort of holding on until Christmas, where I can take a few weeks off, enjoy some games, and do some podcasting and some content creation, sort of reset for the new year, which I usually do, which I really do enjoy doing. But just got to get through December. But to start off the show, whenever we get an Apple Podcast review, I like to shout out, I like to read it out, just to thank those who make the effort to leave us a review. And of course, try and encourage some of you scallywags out there to also leave a review. So, this is from ERB73, and that name rolls off the tongue. I'm sure that's your given name when you were born. And they are from the United States, and the title of their review is Fun, Informative Show, and it's 5 stars, so thank you very much for that bit. So reading the rest, it continues positive, so it's quite nice. So they say, these guys do well and offer a different perspective from any other Switch podcasts. Well done, informative and entertaining. So thank you very much, to the point, and we really do appreciate it. So thank you very much, and I'm glad you enjoyed the podcast. So if you'd like to leave us a review, pop over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. It is easy if you do, have a Apple device and you are in that ecosystem using your Apple account. But if you're not an Apple person, I understand it's hard. So there are other ways you can help out the show. You can share us on Twitter or social media of choice, whatever it is. But it definitely does help out the show. Because, I'll be honest, on Twitter with the House of Mario account, as of late, I've been a bit lazy. I haven't been posting new episodes and that. I'm not really into social media that much. I spend a lot of time looking, but I don't really feel the need to put too much out there. Even though when it comes to content creation and all that type of thing, need to be onto it more. But it is what it is. So as far as playing games this week, I've been playing quite a bit, but not so much on Switch. And I've been thinking about this a fair bit. Obviously, the new consoles coming out. I got an Xbox Series X and a PlayStation 5, and I knew that they would be taking up, most of my time. The new shiny toys, new shiny games, and all of that. But it's been the Xbox Series X that I've been spending the most time with. I'll be honest, I haven't turned on my PS5 for about 2 weeks. I've turned on my Switch. I've been playing a bit of Pokemon here and there, but no new games necessarily. But the Xbox has been taking my time because of Game Pass. Game Pass, I've been a big fan of it, obviously, but I've never really been in the Xbox ecosystem that deeply. I had a big fat original Xbox One. I didn't really like using it. I thought that the menus and the UI was clunky, and it pretty much just was a Forza machine because I really do love those racing games. I don't think PlayStation or Nintendo offer that type of racing game at that quality. But yeah, throughout the weekend, I've been really just dabbling in some shorter games or some games that are just chill out and relax. So I've been playing through The Gardens Between, which is a really awesome indie sort of puzzle game. It takes about 1 to 2 hours to play through, and I really enjoyed it. I played through on, obviously, Xbox through Game Pass, and I just went through it and sort of unlocked all the achievements and played through the game. It's been a game I had been sitting on my UI there for a while, and just really happy that I played it, because just the type of mechanics that it uses with sort of time is really smart. So basically, you play through like you can like, it's like on I wouldn't say a 2D plane, but it's kind of like a diorama, and the whole game sort of plays out as like, you're not really controlling it, but you're controlling time. So you can fast forward time or rewind time, and through doing that, you can use influence the different mechanics. So like a lot of the puzzles, you might grab a lantern, you put a light in the lantern, and then you go forward, and that light in the lantern will sort of get rid of some fog in the way. But then going forward, there will be like a bridge where there's fog, and if you have light in the lantern, it'll get rid of that fog bridge. So you got to sort of work out where to put the lantern, and yeah, it's just really smart. I'm not doing that much justice to it, but it's definitely worth checking out. The game is on Switch, and is definitely a big one to jump in and check out. And apart from that, the other games I was playing apart from Forza Horizon 4, I actually really got in the mood for achievement hunting. Sometimes I just feel like sitting down and playing a game for 2 hours, getting the achievements / trophies, depending on what platform it is, and move on. But through Game Pass, obviously, you don't have to spend any money to just for a pretty run-of-the-mill achievement hunting game. So I actually jumped into Ark Survival, which I thought I'd never play, but there's like sort of a way on you can enter in different codes into like the dev command thing, and just like in about like 2 hours you can get all the achievements. So I just decided to do that. So just like thinking about it, it seems so dirty, achievement hunting. I know like a lot of people out there who also play on Xbox or PlayStation. Because for the most part, I've been involved in the PlayStation side of things, where it's trying to get the platinum trophies and put up your level and that. So actually doing it on the Xbox, it felt kind of weird, but yeah, I had fun regardless. And on the Forza Horizon 4 side of things, I finally got into that Lego DLC, which was a lot of fun to get into. I don't know if anybody actually pays attention to the Xbox side of things, but they released a DLC where it's like a new island where most things are made of Lego, and you got Lego cars and that interacting with everything, and it's just really smartly done. And like throughout doing races and that, you're earning little Lego pieces that you're putting towards building a house, basically in the festival center, where you're just constantly upgrading it the more races and that you're doing. So I'm just really enjoying it, just putting a podcast on, listening to music and chilling out, exploring the land, doing races and that. It's one of my favorite games on Xbox. It's definitely my favorite racing game. Absolutely love it. Fantastic. But yeah, and what I was sort of getting to the point before is like, since 2017 when the Switch came out, and since I've been doing this podcast, there's been no real other platform that has like really taken my attention away from the Switch. Obviously, big PlayStation fan. PlayStation are one of my favorite publishers, and I absolutely love their exclusives on there. And I would go on to PlayStation 4, obviously, for the big third-party titles, which I'm interested in. And obviously, like stuff like Last of Us, Uncharted, Gravity Rush. Like, there's so many games on that platform that I really enjoy. But I would say that, like, if I was going to purchase anything, it was always going to be on Switch. I love the portable nature on the Switch. And especially for indie games, whereas there's not like a big difference in performance, I'll definitely go for the Switch version. But sort of with Game Pass on the Xbox, I've been just really enjoying jumping into different things and trying them out. Whether it's like something that I'll never even think about playing, but you know what? Since it's there and available, I can jump straight into it. And when sort of thinking about like, all right, well, what platform should I purchase this game on? You know, Xbox has been sort of creeping up into my mindset, where I'm like, maybe I will buy it on the Xbox instead of the Switch. And I think a lot of that is that, you know, Xbox and the PS5, you know, both the new shiny toy. So maybe that's where that mindset is coming from. But I also think it's like the mindset of just like, I am definitely ready for a brand new Switch to come out next year. Whether it's called the Switch Pro or whatever it is, I just want something a bit more shiny, a bit more, a bit more performance. Whether it's just loading quicker or not as much slowdown with the frame rate and stuff. So yeah, that's something I've been thinking about too. So I think there is definitely something to this subscription model for the Xbox, having a place where you can try out different games, and I think it just gets you playing more games, whether like there's something you're really excited for or you just feel like playing on a Friday night. So I feel like Nintendo could definitely make use of a subscription service. And I know they already technically have one, but, it's pretty run-of-the-mill, albeit very cheap compared to a lot of other services. And PlayStation Plus, that was really the start of it back in, I think it was like 2010 or 2011 when they first brought that out. It was when the PlayStation 3 had the big PSN outage. I think it was a little bit before that, but they came back and they offered like some really big games on the PlayStation 3 at the time, which was, I think it was like Infamous 2 and Little Big Planet they offered for free. But basically with PlayStation Plus, that was one of the first services where, I guess, mainstream services on the consoles where, there was a monthly subscription where you got free games. And, back then and even now, it's just a tremendous value that you get from that. Not every month is a banger. You're not going to get awesome games every month, but I think even this year on PlayStation 4 where you saw Fall Guys, and even back in 2015 when Rocket League debuted into PlayStation Plus, and I think it really gave that game a big kick start. It's been a great value and a great service for PlayStation players. And obviously with the competition with Xbox, they sort of followed suit and offered free games with gold. I don't think it was ever on the level PlayStation Plus was as far as that goes, but obviously now Xbox and Microsoft were looking at what some other industries were doing, say Netflix and Amazon with was it Prime Video and all that type of stuff, where you're actually looking at a huge library and offering a subscription every month. And even with like Apple Arcade as well, across Apple devices, and even Google with, what is it? I think it's called Play Access or something. I'm not quite familiar with it. It's not as advertised as much, but most companies are moving towards this subscription model, which is a good and the bad thing. I know a lot of Nintendo fans are huge collectors, like myself included. Like, I know Bryce gives me shit a lot of the time because I have moved to purchasing my games digitally on Switch. And that's just from a convenience point of view, whether it's not having to drive 40 minutes to my closest game store, or just having all the games in my pocket without having to swap out little cards and muck around with things. But, I am a big collector. I really do enjoy having the physical copy. And I think I'm just going to sort of get that sort of satisfaction from, DS and 3DS games, just collecting for those handheld systems. But I really do think Nintendo could benefit from having a subscription model. And yes, there is the $30 a year, and you get access to a nice handful of Nintendo Entertainment System games and SNES games as well. But it's just it's not on quite the same level. And you could sort of look at it like, with like just the amount of games that they have on offer from, the NES all the way past the Wii to the Wii U. They could have an absolute tremendous library just available for free. Well, not for free, but for a subscription service, which I think will keep people interested and give people plenty of stuff to play, and also give Nintendo a reoccurring revenue stream, which is more than just say $30 a year. Because like going into their financials, they do seem quite happy with their subscription model, Nintendo Switch Online. But I do think they could really vamp it up. But I guess devil's advocate, just to my points that I was thinking about. Nintendo's games, they are very much next Mario game. They change it up a lot, but it is very much just putting layers and layers, and a bit of a different idea, a bit of a different gimmick, whether it's improving itself or whatever. But from like Mario 64 to Mario Galaxy, for example, they're similar games. Then to Mario Odyssey and that, and onto the next Mario game, it will be interesting to see whether if they did open up that library to just a subscription service, would people be more reluctant to spend $60 or $100 or $80 in Australia for the new Mario game, for example? So yeah, it's just something to sort of think about. But as far as it goes, just the value Xbox are offering on the gaming front, on the console front, is just it's tremendous. It's really impressive, and it's quite surprising as well how it does affect just your gaming habits and broadening your horizons to try new things. Because even like $30 for like an indie game where you're like, that looks quite good, but $30 is it's not a small amount of money necessarily, especially for something you're not 100% sure on. So just getting rid of that barrier and trying new genres, new IP, whatever you have, I think it's really, really quite strong. And we've talked about it probably the start of this year, last year, that with all the rumors like, oh, is Xbox going to bring Game Pass to Switch? That's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Why would Nintendo want someone else's subscription on Switch? Yes, it does bring maybe some games that maybe couldn't run on Switch, especially if you're looking at the streaming side of things, obviously. Like if, I don't know, for example, Doom Eternal. Well, that is on Switch. That's a bad example. That's coming out very soon on Switch. But let's just say Call of Duty or a game was in Game Pass and you could stream it on Switch. That is a solution to, I guess, a problem Nintendo might have because that game can't run natively. But we are seeing now that streaming games are coming to Switch, but they are coming as like a one-off purchase in the eShop. For example, Control that came out is like it's a one-off purchase. You can buy it like any other game, then you can stream it to your Switch with a good internet connection. Not that that applies here in Australia. It is not available to us because we live in a internetless, slow place, just to put it lightly. But yeah, it's so Nintendo, they still get their cut from a game purchase. Whereas, if they get their 30% of every Game Pass subscription, I don't know if that's really going to make up for just all the money that they'll make elsewhere. But regardless, it's interesting nevertheless. So anyway, really enjoying the Xbox side of things, and it's exciting that I'm enjoying playing my Xbox because the last generation with the Xbox One, apart from Forza and Forza Horizon, and no, seriously, that's it. I didn't play it that much, but now with Game Pass, it's actually becoming probably my primary console over the PlayStation, which is I didn't think that could happen because back in say 10 years ago when I had my Xbox 360, I ended up selling it and getting a PS3 just because the games on offer from Xbox, I just sort of shrugged my shoulders at it. It was like, the original Forza games. It was Gears of War, it was Halo, and it was exclusive Call of Duty multiplayer maps a month or so early. I'm like, cool. Then on PlayStation, they had all this, Japanese games. They had Naughty Dog really starting to get into its rhythm with Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3. And the exclusives were just very strong on that platform. And sort of really spoke to me a lot more than what Microsoft are doing. So now, maybe, Xbox are starting to win me back. So anyway, 20 minutes in, let's talk about some news. It's a sort of very, 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 nothing too big.
Woohoo! Yeah! Pika, pika! Is that all?
I fight for my friends.
Yahoo!
My body is still.
So this week, it's like I said, very slow news week, but regardless, we've got some cool news stories to keep you informed with. So this is from Vooks.net, and Puma's Fura Rider NES-inspired shoes have hit Australia. And the article reads, one one week it's shoes on Super Mario titles, the next shoes with a NES inspired theme. The Puma Nintendo Entertainment System Fura riders have arrived on Puma's website, and through Foot Locker, these shoes will feature an NES style with a Super Mario Bros. Cartridge on the tongue. They'll set you back $140. So if you want to go and check them out, I'll leave a link in the show notes below. Check out a picture and follow the article if you would like to purchase some. But they look pretty cool. They've got like the NES power button sort of above the sole of the foot. They've got a Super Mario Bros. Original art on the sort of on the tongue there, and if you look into the shoe, you can see like the Bowser's Castle lava sort of on the sole there. So pretty neat looking. Personally, it's not sort of my taste, but it's pretty cool nevertheless. I remember like there was these red and white Mario Nikes, which looked really cool. But yeah, I think that's more my style. So moving on, this is from mynintendonews.com. And Yakuza creator says Nintendo hardware is basically aimed at kids and teens. So we'll jump into this. So in a recent video by Sega Europe to celebrate the esteemed company's 60th anniversary, Yakuza creator Tokoshi Nagoroshi was interviewed. He spoke about Nintendo platforms on both the past and present and said that he personally believes that while the Nintendo Switch appeals to a wide-ranging age group, the company mainly caters to kids and the teenage market. This may be the reason why we haven't seen the Yakuza series on Nintendo Switch. So, quote, I think even now the Nintendo platform is still a game console that is played by a wide range of age groups. But basically, it's hardware for kids and teens. Amid all that, at the time, Nintendo was also putting a lot of effort into the kids market, and I thought it would suit. So, yeah, I don't think anyone really argue with that, but Nintendo does aim for younger people, because a lot of us got into Nintendo and gaming through them when we were kids. I got into Pokemon and the Game Boy Advance when I was 9 years old, and I've owned every Nintendo platform since, and I think that's the beauty of Nintendo, that you can share it with your kids, and you can play it when you're a kid. And now that Bryce, for example, is a father, he can share it with his kids and not have any worry about violence, blood, swearing, all of that type of thing. But he can still enjoy Nintendo games himself as well, and I think that's really powerful as well. A lot of say games on other platforms, and the wide range of third-party games, you can't really play them with your kid unless they are a family game, like really aiming for kids. So I think it's a great thing. I don't think it's a negative thing that they're saying here, but regardless, very cool. So another one from My Nintendo News is the Game Awards 2021 pre-show will feature 2020 will feature 5 world premieres. So the Game Awards creator Jeff Keighley has announced this evening that Senny Goodman, who is a host and producer at video game channel IGN, will return as the Game Awards pre-show host on Thursday. Jeff went on to reveal that there will be 5 world premieres featured in the pre-show, and also a special musical performance to listen to. So pretty cool. I think I haven't really thought about it much, but it would be nice to see Nintendo rock up and have a couple of announcements. Obviously, a couple of years ago, it was a big bombshell when Joker was announced for for Smash Bros. From Persona 5. Then last year, we really didn't get anything from Nintendo apart from, I can't even remember, to be honest. But Nintendo does have a track record of showing up at the Game Awards. Obviously, the first footage of Breath of the Wild running on Wii U in 2015. It was first shown there. So maybe we'll get something for Breath of the Wild 2. Who knows? But it'll be cool to see. To be honest, I've been burnt out sort of trying to guess what we'll see from Nintendo. I remember last year, I was kind kind of confident that we'd see a Metroid Prime trilogy there, and I would have quite liked that because I am sort of holding out to play those games on Switch before Metroid Prime 4 comes out. And obviously we didn't get that, and we've gone through 2020 and there's still no trilogy. So I'm just going to go into this and not really think about it or make any predictions or have any expectations. But I do definitely, expect the next Zelda, Mario, Pokemon, Kirby, Smash Bros, Mario Kart, all to be there. No expectations though. And also with the Game Awards, so also from My Nintendo News, Reggie Fils-Aime will be a presenter at the Game Awards 2020. So it reads, the Game Awards creator and presenter Jeff Keighley has tweeted this evening that former Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aime will be presenting this year at the Game Awards. It's not clear which part of the show he'll be presenting, but it will certainly be good to see Reggie back in action. So, Reggie did present an award last year, so whether it will be sort of the same thing again this year, we don't know, but it's always good to see Reggie out and about, being a part of the games industry. Obviously, he's retired from Nintendo, but he's still very much a part of the games industry, whether it's a part of GameStop or any of the other avenues he's a part of. But I'm looking forward to seeing him at the Game Awards, whether it's only briefly sort of showing off off an award, but cool nevertheless. So also from My Nintendo News, PAX 2021 dates announced. So ReedPop and Penny Arcade have announced that PAX is returning next year, assuming the coronavirus pandemic is under control. The two companies have announced dates for PAX East in Boston and PAX West in Seattle, and PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia. However, PAX South won't be returning next year. Polygon has mentioned that other PAX conventions and PAX Australia will be announced at a later date, which is the one that excites me and has my fingers crossed for coronavirus to be under wraps. So PAX East will return to Boston Convention Center and Exhibition Center for June 3rd to 6th. PAX West will return to Washington State Convention Center from September 3rd to the 6th. And PAX Unplugged will return to Pennsylvania Convention Center from December 10th to 12th. So fingers crossed all of that will be all good. From an outsider's perspective on how things are going in the US, I wouldn't book tickets just yet. Even if it's like, things are better, but, just like having that in the back of your head that it's like, it's inside, it's close spaces. I don't know how easy it will be to go back to how things were, but fingers crossed, maybe there's a vaccine or something by then. But for everyone in the US that's looking forward to going back to PAX, I wish you good luck. Also in Australia here, PAX is one of my favorite times of year, meeting up for friends and just having a weekend full of video games where everything is just it's a lot of fun. It's just a really needed weekend away, and I really missed it this year. So hopefully it's back next year. So moving away from My Nintendo News, we're going on to gamesindustry.biz, where the title is Nintendo hacker leaker sentenced to 3 years in prison. And the man was also sentenced for possession of child pornography. But let's not jump to conclusions just yet. So I'll read the article and we will discuss. So a California man has been sentenced to 3 years in prison by the U.S. District Court in Seattle after pleading guilty to hacking into Nintendo servers, stealing and leaking confidential company information, as well as for possession of child pornography. According to a press release issued by the U.S. District of Justice, the defendant Ryan S. Hernandez has previously used a phishing, not sure what it actually means, but a phishing technique to steal the credentials of a Nintendo employee and access confidential company information, which he then leaked on various social media platforms in 2016 and 2017. Hernandez was a minor at the time, and following an FBI investigation, he and his parents were contacted. Hernandez promised to cease any future hacking or similar activities. Probably a good idea, mate. However, the press release continues. Hernandez continues hacking into Nintendo servers from 2018 to 2019 and leaking the information he found there. In June of 2019, the FBI conducted a search of Hernandez's residence and confiscated various devices containing stolen Nintendo files, as well as a collection of child pornography. Hernandez will pay $259,000 in restitution to Nintendo and will be put on 7 years of supervised release following his prison sentence, and will be required to register as a sex offender. Last year, a London court also sentenced 2 men to imprisonment for hacking into Microsoft in Nintendo's internal services and accessing confidential company information. So, I just want to get this child pornography accusation or sentence out the way. Obviously, whenever you say that, it's like, oh, that is absolutely disgusting. But just reading in here, just also a quote from the article. Hernandez was a minor at the time, and following the FBI investigation, he and his parents were contacted. So saying that he's a minor, I'm just sort of maybe putting a devil's advocate thing out there that, I know this is how it works in Australia, but for example, if you're a 15-year-old boy and you're dating a 15-year-old girl and you send a picture of yourself and she sends a picture of herself and that's on your phone, regardless of your age, that is still classified as child pornography. So whether that is the situation this man found himself in, it's not as bad as, a man just finding that and storing it on his computer. So that is a way you can look at it. Obviously, I only know the information from this article, but regardless, definitely not a good thing to have, be as registered as a sex offender. But I've heard some sort of horror stories of some people being put through that who definitely didn't deserve it, who, weren't pedophiles or anything like that. So maybe just keep that in the back of your mind. Obviously, he could be just a piece of shit. I don't know. But, just looking at the better side of things, I hope that was the circumstance for that particular bit. But being a hacker, stealing someone's information, that is absolute dog shit. And just the fact that he was caught for it, and then he did it again, just the following year, and he continued to do it for 2 years into 2019. Absolutely, just shit. Earlier throughout this year, we've had a lot of information come from Nintendo, and sort of there's subsidiaries that information's been coming out, and we've been seeing early looks at Pokemon games and early looks at sprites from Mario World and just all sorts of interesting stuff. But the way it sort of came out was put very lightly, which is illegal and just not good. Just absolutely rubbish. So good that this Mr. Hernandez was prosecuted, and hopefully he won't be stealing information or doing anything like this again, and he learned his lesson. And another sort of serious one. So we're back to my Nintendo news, and the title is Nintendo cancels Splatoon 2 North American Open Finals live stream. So this is a bit of an interesting one for the Nintendo community. So let's set through this and try to digest it together. So there's been a bit of frustration from fans in recent days surrounding Nintendo's decision to put a stop on a Super Smash Bros. Melee competitive tournament. Recent happenings saw the company send a cease and desist order to the Big House, the longest running Smash tournament in the US, just the other week. The reason was because Nintendo refused to support a tournament that saw a legally copied version of the game to be used for the event. The news quickly gained traction online with the hashtag SaveSmash and hashtag FreeMelee trending worldwide. Nintendo even went out the way to release a statement to Polygon explaining the reason behind it, while also enlightening the fact that the Big House did not cooperate. Now, Nintendo has cancelled the live stream for Splatoon 2 North American Open, which was scheduled to take place this weekend. Slimy Quarkseye on Twitter has shared a small statement from Splatoon 2's official tournament Discord, which you can see, which you can view above, which I'll read later. Speculation behind the cancellation for the live stream points towards the names of the winning teams that were submitted for the tournament. Many of who chose melee-inspired names for their teams. So, a quote from a Twitter post by Slimy. So, the Splatoon community, in support of the Smash community, has 30% of the top teams in this weekend's Splatoon 2 North American Open with the team names in support of Melee and Smash. So, what does Nintendo Versus do in response? They cancelled their live streams for tomorrow's finals. End quote. And he also goes on to say, kind of funny that they'll server their own support. So what do you say? So kind of funny that they'll sever their own support that they love to parade around as something so fantastic, just because the Splatoon community wanted to stand out in solidarity with the other scenes that Nintendo outright harms. And he included someone from the Discord saying, due to unexpected challenges, we had to forego the live stream for this tournament's final. And just looking at some of the names of the teams that were included, there is one that is just called literally hashtag free melee. There's element free melee. What else is here? So there's two free melees which have different numbers at the end. There's free melee 211, there's free melee 227, and there's melee. Yeah, so there's a few of them here. So I guess their idea is that when Nintendo are streaming this on their own channel, they do not want to have to read out, on an official Nintendo channel, free melee. So they just said, bugger it, we'll cancel it. With no sort of heads up to anyone here as well. And I'm only sort of just catching up on this, but I saw Bryce, obviously, co-hosted the show. If you don't know, you haven't listened to the show before. But he put out some of his thoughts on Twitter too, so I'll read them out so he can get his thoughts in, and maybe he'll elaborate them on a bit more next week when he comes back on. So Bryce says, I'm in full belief that Nintendo has every right to do what they want with the Slippy situation, which is back with... which is what happened with Smash. But cancelling the Splatoon 2 finals stream over team tags was not only a brash move, but a poor one. They simply should have told teams to change it. This is the last time I'll mention it. I love the Nintendo community for its passion, but making mods has always came at a risk. Nintendo isn't trying to smite Melee because it's Melee, as some people seem to believe. They've removed countless mods of other series before. That being said, cancelling an official tournament over a hashtag in which people are trying to express their feelings is punishment of free speech. Simply letting the teams know to change it and that they are aware of the hashtag would have been enough. So, I don't know about sort of the free speech argument. Obviously, that's something that gets thrown around a lot. Back to, I guess, some of the other points. Nintendo, they can do what they want. This is their product. This is their tournament. This is their channel, or various channels they're streaming it on. They can cancel it. They can run it. They can do what they want. But what they're doing with these tournaments is they're trying to really cater to their community, to their audience, to their customers, and keep Splatoon and Smash Bros and these games in the eye. And I guess ultimately, which hasn't happened, but they want these games to be a major esport. Whether it's not going to be on the same tier as League of Legends and stuff, which is making millions and millions of dollars with different teams, and like Overwatch having its own league, which is sort of run like a football league, which is actually quite impressive to watch every now and again. But at the very least, it just keeps the community entertained, and people maybe catching a couple of matches and picking up the game and getting into the competitive scene like that. But when it comes down to the names being read. Like, they don't want to have to be there and go, all right, so this is a hashtag free melee and they're versing hashtag free melee and like whatever have you. But as Bryce said, they could have asked the teams to change their names, because I could probably say that I don't know if these are brand new teams or they're existing teams that have changed their names, but I couldn't imagine this would be like their first or only name, or that they couldn't easily change it to something else. So it is a shame that they decided to cancel it. I can see why they did it, but as Bryce said, I think they could easily just go, hey, because it wasn't all of the teams. It was like Slimmy said, not Slippy. I don't know what I said. Oh yeah, because did I say Slimmy before? I can't remember. Slippy was the cheating mechanism on the Melee. Oh no, the online mod. But Slimmy said 30% of the teams had a name that were in support of Melee and Smash. So it wasn't everyone, and it wasn't even a majority of the teams. So I feel like Nintendo could have said, hey, we'd like you to change your name. This is, we respect what's going on and your support of what's happened with our cancellation of another tournament, but this is on official, Nintendo channels, and we don't want that to take away from the Splatoon experience, or however they want to sort of cater or make it sound not as bad as what actually happened. But there were definitely ways around this without just going, all right, bugger it, we'll cancel it. It seems a bit brash and just disappointing for the community of players that really do enjoy their products. Because I can definitely tell you that the people that are still into Splatoon and playing on Switch and paying for Nintendo Switch Online to do so, they're probably some of Nintendo's biggest customers. So, obviously, yeah, it's just disappointing. And from someone who keeps a close eye on things that are going on in the world of Nintendo, whether it's just their press releases with their products or the actual people that play their games and enjoy them and talk about them and all that, it's really disappointing. Especially when it's the finals. It's not like some random just round. This is the finals. People have worked to get to this point. So, yeah, disappointing nevertheless. And that brings us to the end of the news, which did take us a little bit. So I hope it brought some things to your attention that you didn't quite know. Whatever. A bit of an awkward transition to the House of Mario's Red Coin recommendations, where I recommend some games that came out recently on the Nintendo eShop. Bit of an awkward one. I keep on saying that because I'm kind of stalling for time because I'm going to have a nice drink. I've got a bottle of Coke here. It's very nice. Let me a bit of time here, ladies and gentlemen, to have a bit of a swig. It's quite nice. Been talking for 40 minutes just about stuff I really enjoy. But it doesn't mean you don't get thirsty. Because you certainly do get a bit thirsty. I certainly do. All right, so let's move into some House of Mario's Red Coin recommendations. So the first one was one we talked about a couple of weeks ago, which is Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light. So this is a re-release of the original Fire Emblem game that came out on the Super Famicom. And this is the first time it's in English, which is really exciting. And it's for $9. And the little summary is: meet Marth and recruit some of the beloved Fire Emblem characters in their 8-bit glory in Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light for Nintendo Switch. Play through all 25 chapters of this classic Famicom tactical role-playing game that started the Fire Emblem legacy, localized and released for the first time in Australia and New Zealand, and US and Europe and whatever country you're in that isn't Japan. But I'm on the Australian eShop, so that's what it tells me. And also saw that Stephen, a friend of the show, got his limited edition Fire Emblem collector's edition, which was $90 here. So, I decided to say, Nintendo, you got my money from the Game & Watch that got released. You got my money from All Stars you got my money a lot this year. I'm not going to spend $90 on that. But Steven said that it was quite a nice little collector's edition, and that the replica cartridge was a lot heavier and a lot more sturdy than he thought. So that's pretty cool. So next game is Fitness Boxing 2 Rhythm and Exercise. Now this is a game personally I'm not interested in at all. I wasn't that interested in the first Fitness Boxing game, but it is a game published by Nintendo. So, and I do know that it was quite popular as well. Yeah, like I said, it was quite popular. So for $70, you can pick up this game. And the little summary is, select any of the 9 instructors, including the 3 new ones, Janice, Hori, and Karen. Customize your instructor's outfit to provide even more variety for your workouts. So that's that's how they're selling the game. And I mean, does that get you to spend $70 Australian? Don't think so. But yeah, no, seriously though, I do know quite a few people had quite a bit of success playing this game, just playing it in the morning, getting worked up and losing a few calories, enjoying themselves. And honestly, I could see myself enjoying this game. But I'm not going to buy it. And the next one is Immortals Phoenix Rising. This is a game I've been looking forward to since last E3 when it got announced as Gods and Monsters. And you can pick it up on the Nintendo Switch eShop for $90. And the summary is, plays Phoenix on a quest to save the Greek gods from a dark curse. Take on mythological beasts, master the legendary powers of the gods, and defeat Typhon, the deadliest titan in Greek mythology, in an epic fight for the ages. Now, I gotta say that really excited for this game, but I will not be picking up for Switch. This will be a game I'll be picking up on the Xbox, mainly because of just on Switch. You know, it takes that graphical hit. The frame rate looks like it's all over the place, and yeah, I just want to play it in its full glory on a next gen system. But I have said in the past that, like, if any Nintendo game was to get ported to another system, I would want it to be Breath of the Wild, because seeing the mods for the Wii U version on the PC, what they can do just with the ROM, it looks absolutely gorgeous. So I guess the opportunity to play a Breath of the Wild-like game where it's open world and you know it's a similar game where instead of shrines, I think you're doing, I forgot what they call it, but regardless, looking forward to playing this game. It will be a good fun time. I'm sort of holding out until about Christmas time to pick it up. And the last one is a Taco no Tachin Rhythmic Adventure 1. So this is the drum and fun game where it's like the RPG version. And it caught my eye in a Nintendo. What was it? What do they call them? Nintendo. It wasn't a Direct. Oh, it was a Direct Mini. That's what they called them. So Nintendo Direct Mini. It was one where it was pretty lackluster, but these ones did catch my eye. So this is Adventure Pack 1, and Don-chan leaves the past behind for a great adventure that transcends space and time to the future. Warp to different eras to stop the bad guys from destroying their history. So there's a dot point here, and it says, a robust story. Don-chan and Katsuna stumble upon Toki, who has the important job of protecting time. He tells them that his friend Tiki has been kidnapped by Professor... Professor Timden. The professor is trying to use Tiki to meddle with time. Travel to many different periods to take down the evil, destroying history. The better you perform in Takio battles against monsters you encounter on your adventure, the more damage you do to them. Some of the monsters you defeat can even become your allies, featuring more than 100 monsters. Create your own team, train them, and work together to face powerful enemies. Of course, you can still play the well-known Takio mode. There's not only the story mode, but the well-known Takio mode will be played as well. In addition to more than 60 songs, 3 new songs have also been added. So you can get that for $45 on the Australian eShop. And there's actually a Adventure 2, which is a completely different game, but I will not be reading that out. So they are the recommendations for this week. If you'd like to go and check them out. Personally, if I was going to choose any of them, it would be the Fire Emblem game. It's only $9. It's relatively cheap, and it's a good way to sort of support localizations of old games that have not been moved over. Hopefully, the next game, Nintendo say, hey, maybe we'll localize it, is a Mother 3. That'd be great to come over. It was a really awesome Game Boy Advance game that we never saw the light of day. And that if you really do want to play, there are mods and ROMs on PC, but it would be nice to get an official local translation. So that brings us to the end, I believe. We talked for 50 minutes about the news, some subscriptions on other platforms, and what we'd like to see on Switch, as well as some recommendations. So everyone, thank you very much to listening to episode 171 of the House of Mario. We're getting up there. We'll be doing episode 200 next year, which I'm looking forward to. And if you'd like to support the show, like, what was his name? E something. If you'd like to support the show like E something did, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you'd like to join our Discord community, you are more than welcome to jump in there and talk with us, be amongst it, and enjoy yourself. And of course, thank you to our Patreon producers, Luke, DJ, and Sam Hay. I don't like to pimp our Patreon that much, but guys, thank you very much. Looking forward to really improving it next year, like a lot of things we do here. And this week's Nintendo Jukebox is by Garrett Williamson, and it's titled All I Can Do. It's a bit of a remix of various characters from Age of Calamity, and it sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty cool. So guys, until next week, the doors to the House of Mario are closed. Catch you later.